Part 2 of Follow Your Bliss. But if we can love to do what we need to do, before you think about smacking me upside the head because you know that it is indeed impossible for yourself, and possibly any human being to do this, and especially do this consistently all the time, let me qualify things a little bit. Step 1 was hard. It is heroic. Step 2 is pretty much beyond heroic. For many of us, it may seem frankly impossible, and it may or may not be. How could I, or anyone, possibly feel joy doing all the things that I need to do, even the things that I hate doing? Let's start off by saying that this is a standard that we can ascribe to. We shouldn't beat ourselves up if we're not reaching step 1 or step 2, because that sets us back from the beginning. As they say, charity begins at home. Here's the thing. Sometimes things are more difficult because of the pressure that we put on ourselves. Often this can take the form of an inner thought or belief that I'll only be happy if, or more scarily, I'll only survive if. I can't prove this, but I believe that life has a place and a guiding concern for each of us. And then within that, as we increasingly do our part, it's sort of a partnership model, that life will increasingly fill in some of the gaps of things that are necessary but difficult for us to do. I believe that a lot of this has to do with attitude and accompanying emotion. Have you ever noticed that you just can't control your temper or your jealousy, etc., but then when through these emotions you've placed yourself at the precipice of losing something very important to yourself, you're able to pull back and stop doing the negative things that got you there to try to save the thing that you value? Often we can do more or better than we normally do if we feel for whatever reason or circumstance that we have to. Like the stories in the extreme of people who have lifted several thousand-pound cars to save people's lives. Not that this is something that most people could probably do. You could call it adrenaline, you could call it motivation. For it to be lasting, I call it a quality decision. And often we make decisions, but they are not quality decisions. We commit to something, or we think we do, but then when the hard challenges come up, we back down. A quality decision is almost a decision that I don't care what happens in the world, I'm following through on what I set out to do. Those are relatively rare, but these type of decisions wind up changing the world and personal relationships. Maybe you made a quality decision that you're going to love your child or your spouse, despite all the challenges. That doesn't mean that you may not still wind up in divorce court or estrangement a long way down the road. It means that it'll be much more difficult to get there, and you have a much greater chance of not getting there. Not because you're miserable but accepting it, but because you put in and are putting in the hard work to solve problems and keep the relationship better. A bit earlier I said that to optimize our success, we need to be contented and not contented at the same time. A little more on how I believe that this can work. We are energy. Energy moves. Although we also need rest and sleep, we grow restless and bored if we don't also have enough activity and stimulation in our lives. There's a natural urge, a natural motivation to grow. In fact, everything in life grows or dies. As it said in the Bible, the grass does not toil to grow.